Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Gone are the days of wrestling with our favorite LJN wrestling figures, trying to convince them to stand up. What's a guy to do? I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get on Etsy and look up 4 Left 3D Creations and get yourself these amazing custom LJN figure stands. There is a custom stand available for every single one of your LJN wrestling superstar figures. Make your display shine by grabbing these custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations today.
Well, hello everybody. It's Jason Up. It's the New 80s Revolution. It's the Cave. It's a Monday. It's my least favorite day of the week. You know how that is. And it's already started off as a Monday. But that's okay. That's okay. I might have a new office. We'll update you later on today with that. We'll do a second video today, a quick shelf update, and then the 2 new WWF magazines that came in the mail. I did not get to my friend Dave's house yesterday. I will be going there Friday. And he's just, I mean, he told me that he's sold thousands in the last couple of months, $15,000 worth of, he's a big ring-worn collector, and he's just got stuff. And he was in the indie, he was in the indie business. He had an indie fed. So he's driven guys, he's managed guys, I'm sure guys have slept at his house, and they've all, so he's had a really inside scoop on collectibles, and he would get stuff right from, he'd get ring-worn stuff right from the person that wore it, handed it to him. So anyway, that's later. LJN's Revisited, of course. LJN's Revisited. We're taking a look at our next figure. If I did I think at the end of this, I'll do a top 5 most played with figures and a top 5 least played with figures. This fella could be on the list. Maybe in the top 5, I'd say. Maybe in the top 8, because I did get a little play with him. But before we talk about it, let's look at the way this figure stands on my shelf that might not be behind me after next week. Might not be behind me. Well, yeah, might not be behind me after next week. Might be going over there. That would be a dramatic change. We'll talk about it. But the only way for these figures to stand correctly on your shelves and not look all jumbled and unhappy is by getting custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations. And here is Jesse the Body Ventura's custom LJN stand. Go to Etsy, 4 Left 3D Creations. Great people. Get your custom LJN stands today. And here he is, folks. One of my top 8 least played with figures, Jesse the Body Ventura. Now, why is he least played with? Well, lots of reasons, I think. By the time LJN started even coming out, Jesse Ventura wasn't a wrestler anymore. He was so well known as in our childhoods as a commentator. And Jesse, I think one of his last matches was the Saturday Night's Main Event match when he teamed up with Piper and somebody. I forget. I got to look back to take on the Hillbillies, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's Saturday Night's Main Event number 2. So that's 85. So Jesse was retired. I mean, I'm at April 85 right now. I haven't seen Jesse in the ring in forever, and LJNs haven't even come out yet in April 85. So when Jesse comes out in 86, Jesse comes out in 86, he's not a wrestler anymore. And in fact, because we're kids and because our brains are mush, in 86, we probably didn't even remember Jesse as a wrestler for the most part. We just knew him as, the guy that would mess with Vince McMahon on commentary. That's who we knew. That's the Jesse Ventura we knew. We didn't know the wrestler as little kids. So I think that's a contributing factor. And therefore, if he's not on my TV all the time, I don't know what to do with him. I don't. So Jesse was never used as Jesse Ventura in the Federation, the LJN Fed. However, because I had imagination and a brain, before Bruno Sammartino, right? Which way do I go? That way. Whatever. Before Bruno Sammartino came back as Bruno Sammartino, bad guy, and wreaked havoc in my LJN Fed, I teamed Bruno with Jesse, and they were called Thunder and Lightning. And Bruno was Thunder because he was bulky, and Jesse was Lightning. And they were a good guy tag team, and they were just not Bruno and Jesse. So, they were a very, very mid-card good guy tag team, Thunder and Lightning. Because you had your established tag teams, but in real wrestling, other tag teams would come in or other guys would just kind of team up, and I needed tag teams. I didn't want to keep having Sheik and Volkov and the Hart Foundation, the Bulldogs. I needed, because those are like even main event matches. I needed a tag team that was a mid-card tag team, right? They could put up a fight and they'll lose. Kind of like Captain Lou being the executioner. I needed a guy to lose. So Thunder and Lightning came in, and that is when I played with Jesse the most, because he was not Jesse, he was Lightning. There's really, this is kind of pointless there, that pose. It does kind of mess with the playability of the figure, but of course, as kids, we had no problem with that. I think I would do a neck breaker with Jesse. How you turn spin, like kind of like the Rick Rude neck breaker, because this is a perfect arm to get that head in there. But Jesse Ventura, good figure, just not played with because I came out too late. And Bruno also. I mean, Bruno was 86 too, but Bruno was hanging out in semi-retirement, coming back. He had a feud with Savage. Was there a reason to make a Bruno Sammartino figure from LJN? Probably neither. Probably not Jesse or Bruno in 86. Bruno at all, really. But we didn't need a Jesse in 86. They made Vince McMahon, so I could have easily seen them doing Bruno and Jesse in commentator gear. That would have been cool. We got Mean Gene, we got Jesse, or we got Vince McMahon. So I think commentator Jesse would have been cool. There was probably somebody else who could have gotten Jesse's spot in 86, because he was long gone by then. I've never met Jesse Ventura. He is a frequent Comic-Con guest, and I would like to. I think that's a cool meet. I just think that he's an interesting guy, and I don't care anything about, the political stuff or his conspiracy stuff, but I think Jesse Ventura would be a great photo, a great meet. I think he's a cool dude. I just think he's cool. I think he's like very interesting and cool. And when he came back to Raw, remember like years ago, he came back to Raw and he and Vince did commentary and killed it. I watched that Raw and I had no idea what was going on, but it was so cool to hear Jesse and Vince doing comedy. It was like 3-4 years ago, Raw reunion or Raw, whatever. And Jesse and Vince did commentary for a match. And it was like Kofi Kingston was in the match or something. But to hear Vince and Jesse sounding exactly like Vince and Jesse from 1986 was awesome. So there he is, Jesse Ventura. Let's take a closer look at the body. Let's get the camera and go in a little closer and take a look at my face. Being a former, Navy SEAL, this isn't even my real face. No, it's a transplant. I had it transplanted 20 years ago. This isn't my real face. I'm telling you the truth, McMahon. All right, here we go. There's a close look at the custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations on Etsy. That's right, folks. Get over to Etsy. 4 Left 3D Creation, Jesse the Body Ventura custom LJN stand. And you would only put one figure in that stand. And of course, it's Jesse the Body Ventura. Let's take a close. Now, there are some of those weird paint variants that collectors go nuts over. And then, I don't care about paint variants. Like I've said before, I think it was a factory issue where, they ran out of a particular color of paint. And then somebody went and got new paint. And it was a shade off. And they just went, well, let's just go with it. Just paint my hair kind of orange then. Who cares? Nobody cares. So we got Jesse with the face. Good face. He's got that Jesse dimple. How about that? Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that's right. They got my dimple. So what? Pink sunglasses. The Jesse Ventura pose. Remember how that's how he used to pose? That's how he'd do like the double bicep pose. He would put his hands that way. Or put his wrist that way, whatever. Yeah, that's the way I liked to do it. So what? My wrist can't go the other way. I had my wrist fused when I was a SEAL. You jump out of a plane at 7,000 feet without a parachute. You land on your wrist. It hurts. You got to get it fused. Don't question me, McMahon. Pretty crappy tights, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of weak with LJN. They did the same thing with Sheik. Almost identical now that I think about it. Wow. Yeah, that is very, very similar to the Iron Sheik design. Pink tights or trunks with tights. Yeah, baby blue boots. It's not baby blue. It's man blue. It's got the do-rag that goes down the neck, down the back. Good figure. I mean, it's a fine figure. I didn't know what to do with him. What do you mean you didn't know what to do with me? You should have made me your world's champion. I should have been world champion of the LJNs or whatever you call it. All right, folks. Jesse the Body Ventura. LJNs Revisited. Tomorrow or next week, we will take a look at Jesse's partner at the broadcast booth and his partner in my imagination, Bruno Sammartino. Bruno. I never teamed with Bruno. I wouldn't team with him. All right, there we go, folks. Jesse the Body Ventura. LJNs Revisited. Good night now, or whatever stupid thing you say.